What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for a review for last night's not too bad episode of Monday Night Raw. We had a lot of good wrestling last night. From Murphy and Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black and Austin Theory, MVP and Apollo Crews wasn't too bad either. We had our duds as well. That opening segment with the Zelina Vega's Ingobernable stable and Drew McIntyre just left a bad taste in my mouth. But contrary to what all these smarter people, supposedly than me, think, they were not buried last night. The group of Vega, Austin Theory, Angel Garza, and Andrade were not buried. They look strong, except for that opening segment. The opening segment was the most damaging thing for these guys. It just feels like nobody in a stable, no young guy is allowed to lose. They have to stay undefeated until they're established, or they're buried. Give me a fucking break. This is not one of those things where it's like, oh, in AEW, you can lose. You have a win-loss record, so losing matters when you have a guy like Austin Theory who went against Aleister Black in a killer match. Unfortunately, like I said before, having no fans hurts everything. Crowd is half of your production. If you don't have a live crowd, it hurts. But Aleister Black, Austin Theory gave you one hell of a match. Rey Mysterio and Murphy gave you one hell of a match. But Drew McIntyre. MVP and Apollo Crews gave you a pretty good match. A couple of duds on this show. Nia Jax needs to be off of television immediately. She is unprofessional, unsafe, and somebody I would never ever put somebody in the ring with. Having Kairi Sane go out there again to face her just tells me that WWE is punishing Kairi Sane probably because of her supposedly leaving when her contract's up. And what the hell are they doing with the Viking Raiders? We'll talk about that in a bit. But the show opens. They show us what happened last week with the match between Andrade and Drew McIntyre, and then what happened afterwards with Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre gets to the ring, and after that, Drew McIntyre comes to the ring. It is going to be Angel Garza versus Drew McIntyre in the main event. Drew says, "Welcome to the Raw. Now this is the highlight of his week, so thank you for joining me. But enough about that. Time to get back to work. I am the champ, of course. Where do we begin? How about last week? I was jumped, ambushed, left laying, right here, in the middle of the ring, as he's pointing. And you know what? You know who isn't surprised about this? Me, the WWE champion, because this was generic WWE rhetoric here. You go out there and you say, well, I'm not surprised I got attacked because I'm the WWE champ. It paints a target on my back. Everybody says that when they're a babyface. It's like, here, Drew, here's this part of the script that you have to say is the rhetoric of a WWE champion or a champion when you're a babyface. Basically, he continues that someone once told him at the top, it's lonely at the top, but they were a filthy liar. Because it's crowded at the top. That's okay. I get it. Everyone wants to be champ now. That takes me to Seth, who stomped my head in the canvas last week. Twice. I'm champion. Seth wants to be champion. But does he deserve a shot? I said last week, you deserve a shot, you get a shot. That's right, he did say that. But a lot of people have said Seth doesn't deserve a shot, but I thought it over. Thought it over for a week. I came to a conclusion. I can make him jump through hoops, but Seth is one of the most decorated stars in this business, and he's damn good. But that doesn't mean he deserves a title match. He lost at WrestleMania not once, but twice, by disqualification, and then by Kevin Owens jumping off the big WrestleMania sign down to and putting his elbow through his heart. That, to me, is he doesn't deserve to have a title match. He is the back of the line. So he's making a challenge for 3 weeks' time from this past Sunday. Drew versus Seth Rollins, WWE Championship. He wants to take a moment to talk to Seth. Says, hey Seth, now I'm not going to, and then the music hits, and out comes Vega and her group outside of Andrade. He's missing for some reason. He's not there for right now. Vega says, hey Drew, and he says, oh Vega, you're the pain in my ass, the biggest pain in my ass. He says, I can't speak for everybody else, But she and they're all sick of his speeches. The problem is you're focused on Money in the Bank and not at Angel Garza. As she's saying this, Andrade comes from behind, clips him in the knee. Now, for some reason, Angel Garza and Austin Theory are still standing at ringside. So Andrade's in there, pounding at the head of Drew McIntyre in the corner. He goes back to the other side, goes to the other corner, comes charging, eats a claymore. Vega tells Angel Garza and Austin Theory to go get him. They're both like, no. He's like, what do you mean no? No. And this made them look terrible. Who booked this like this? Why would you have this group go out there? As soon as Andrade clips Drew McIntyre's knee, Angel Garza and Austin Theory all should have been out there beating the piss out of Drew McIntyre, leaving him laying. Out of everything that happens on this night, this made them look stupid. This is the only thing of the entire night that made Angel Garza, Austin Theory look bad. Like, who in the hell thought this was a good idea? You have Angel Garza and Austin Theory being screamed at by Vega to go attack them. It's 2-on-1. Attack Drew McIntyre. Would have given Andrade enough time to come up, and all three of them could have left him laying, which would have fed into the main event of Angel Garza versus Drew McIntyre. But no, they stood there like two guys with the biggest yellow streaks that you've ever seen. Why the hell did they do that? I don't know. It did not look good. It made them look bad. So Andrade gets the 3-2-1, and boom, he gets hit with another Claymore kick. He gets taken out, and you have Drew McIntyre doing the Tranquilo pose outside, in the ring. So at the beginning of the show, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. These guys are going to get in here. They're going to be completely buried, 110%. This is going to be it for these guys. They had two good weeks, a good week of looking dominant, because they looked dominant completely last week. Even in Andrade's loss to Drew McIntyre, they helped Seth Rollins get the upper hand on Drew McIntyre, leaving him laying. So last week they looked dominant, and right here, right now, they look like chumps. So after that, we go to Aleister Black versus Austin Theory, and Zelina Vega is on commentary. Now, this is the first time I think Zelina Vega has been on commentary for her husband's match, because, of course, as we know, she's married in real life to Aleister Black. Of course, they're not going to acknowledge that on TV, because that's not what the story dictates. Now, I would say another thing, I guess another negative on this show is the fact that we go to commercial, we come back, and Austin Theory is in the ring with his music playing. He doesn't even get an entrance. That right there is a mark off. You don't want to build you don't build a star that you want to have any investment in by giving them a jobber entrance. It's called a jobber entrance for a reason. Because the jobber's in the ring and they're there to get their ass kicked and do almost nothing. This was not a jobber type match though. Austin Theory and Aleister Black went out here, put everything they could into this match, and gave you a hell of a match. The trading holes at the beginning, trying to get the upper hand. Black looks like a Kimura onto the arm, I believe the left arm of Austin Theory. Neither man can get the upper hand. Back and forth, he's still going. Theory tosses Black into the ropes, which pisses Black off. So Austin Theory comes at him, but Aleister Black scoops him over the ropes. He's on the apron. He grabs. It looked like I couldn't really tell because of the camera angle, but it looked like he grabbed the beard of Aleister Black. Aleister Black breaks the grip, goes to the Black Mass. He hops back. It looked like for a second he was he was holding his knee, or like going to hold his knee, but that seemed to be cut for a minute. Let me see here. Vega hops off commentary, saying, "You're not letting this guy fight fair. What's wrong with you?" She's yelling at her husband. It's kind of funny. So he walks past Theory to look at her, stares her down, doesn't say anything, turns back around, and Theory grabs him, throws him into the security wall. Then we go to break. Back from break, Black and Theory going at each other again. Theory with a beautiful rolling dropkick for a 2 count. Theory with the ground and pound into the torture rack, tosses Black into the turnbuckle, picks him up into the torture rack again, cranks him a couple times, throws him back into the turnbuckle, gets him into the torture rack again. Black fights out and does a scoop slam. Black rolls up for a 2 count. ATL is missed as Austin Theory tries to go for the ATL. Black into a triangle, but Theory's trying to get the pin, leads to a single arm powerbomb. We see that move way too many times. It seems to be the only way people are able to get out of a triangle submission. Roman does it all the goddamn time. And anybody, it seems like, goes up against Aleister Black does it as well. It's the triangle, they pick him up with one arm, and they slam him down into a powerbomb. Both men down. Theory up first, he goes for a figure 4 suplex, or Oshigoroshi, I think it is. He has his leg figure forward and goes to pick him up, but his arm gives away. Black starts working on that hurt arm. Theory goes for a suplex, but Black rolls him up for a 2 count. Strikes by Black, followed by a knee to face, the middle rope moonsault for a 2 count. Super kick by Theory, Oshigoroshi by him for a 2 count. Theory is getting cocky. He's like, I'm going to Money in the Bank. Goes for the ATL, but Black gets out, puts him in the apron, rocks Theory, goes up for a missile and misses a stomp, leading to a German suplex bridge for a 2. Black brings Theory back, brings up Theory, misses Black Mass, blocks a strike by Theory, then he hits Black Mass. 1, 2, 3. Aleister Black moves on to Money in the Bank. This was a really good match for the times that we're in. If you had a crowd for this match, it would have presented a lot better than it was. But it was for the best match we could get in the times that we're in. So Aleister Black beating Austin Theory here does not hurt Austin Theory, because Austin Theory went out there and took Aleister Black almost to his limit. I wouldn't say to his limit, but he gave him a challenge, and it was a hell of a match. Byron Saxton comes in the ring, and Black asks him, what is Black's plan for Money in the Bank? Black says, I don't have much of corporate life, but I probably have to cover these, and he's talking about his fingers because he's tattooed everywhere. When I enter Money in the Bank, each floor of the building, I promise to turn it into everyone's personal hell. And walks away and leaves. This brings up a good point about Money in the Bank, and I didn't think about this. We're going to be at WWE HQ. Now, I'm not saying have everyone show up in suits and ties or anything. Jeans, boots, t-shirt. Do not be coming in dressed up as a wrestler. This should be treated as a street fight, or a street fight with Money in the Bank implications, because you're starting on corporate level and going to the top. Jeans, boots, t-shirt, tape fist. So you fight through the thing. It would look silly if you had Daniel Bryan coming there with his boots on and his wrestling tights. Or Rey Mysterio coming with his wrestling tights on and not just those jeans and a t-shirt. Of course, he's going to be masked, or whoever's in there. Same thing with Aleister Black, having him come there in his wrestling tights, and that was it. It would look silly as hell. Just look at the Undertaker in the Boneyard match. He didn't come looking like wrestling in wrestling attire. He was in jeans and a jean jacket and a bandana. If they're gonna do the cinematic route, I don't want to see like Daniel Bryan or Aleister Black or whoever's gonna be else on SmackDown in the wrestling gear. They should be in jeans, shoes, and just make it. It's like they're set for a street fight. That's just my thought on that. Oh, buddy. We go to Shayna Baszler versus Indi Hartwell. I-N-D-I Hartwell. No idea. She's from the Performance Center. No idea. Charlie Kaluska asked her about Sarah Logan. Now, mind you, Sarah Logan was released on Wednesday last week. WWE usually has this rhetoric that once somebody is released, they do not exist in WWE Universe. Their name is not to be mentioned whatsoever. And it's like, this is the first time, I think, since Macho Man left WWF back in 1994, I believe it was, where Vince McMahon sat there on commentary and mentioned the Macho Man Randy Savage because he let his contract run out. Matt Hardy left. WWE has not mentioned Matt Hardy since. Dean Ambrose left WWE last year. Not a mention of the word Dean Ambrose. no Luke Harper, no Connor, Victor, and like any of these people who've been released. Why does Sarah Logan get mentioned over and over and over again in this episode? It's not just here, it's later on in the show too. It's like they furloughed a lot of producers. Did they furlough Sarah Logan where they still have that ability to use her name? I mean, yes, Sarah Logan is their, like, the name is their property. She'd be Crazy Mary Dobson outside. But why is Sarah Logan getting this treatment where she could be mentioned time and time again, where others who come before her just cease to exist in WWE's world after they get released? Anyway, she asked about Sarah Logan last week. Did she go too far? Too far? She said. Let me ask you, did I break any rules? No? I just broke Sarah Logan's arm. And she walks to the ring. Sarah Logan's name, as I said, has been mentioned in this segment and later on in this show alone more times than she probably had matches this year. Baszler gets in the ring against Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell has no chance. Baszler she started fighting her and beating her up, but that first punch just seemed to rock Indy Hartwell, and she just looked like she was out of it. Shayna goes to do the arm stomp, but Indy Hartwell moves her arm, rolls her up for a 1 count. She's trying to fight and get something going on, but Shayna is pissed. She grabs her, pulls her, and just slams her to the ground, brutalizes her, and then finally stomps on her arm. And unlike last week where the referee checked to see if Sarah Logan was okay, she immediately rang the bell, and Shayna Baszler is your winner in less than a minute. She storms off like she did last week, but this time she brings a chair with her. Chair back with her. I mean, not a chair, but a ladder. Pulls the poor woman out, grabs her, throws her into, she took the ladder, she put it up by the steps. She takes Indy Hartwell, throws her into the ladder. The referee and a couple of medical personnel are in the ring. The referee's doing nothing to stop her, not backing her off. Just like, stop, Shayna, don't do it, don't you do it, no, you're going too far. She's just yelling at her. I know we have this whole social distancing bullshit going on right now, but come the hell on, you're already out there. If you really wanted Shayna Baszler to stop, you would have done something about it. So she takes Hartwell's arm, puts it in between the two ladder stacks. The referee's still saying, don't do it, this is too far. You just see the venom in Shayna Baszler's whole body just coming out at this 1 second. The look of, I'm going to kill this woman right here, right now. Just a look on her face of death. That anybody who gets in my way is going to die. He runs, kicks that ladder, and all you hear is the misery and the crying of Indy Hartwell, who just lost the ability to use her arm for probably the rest of her life. Not really, but in kayfabe, yes. And I loved it. Each and every second of this. This is what Shayna Baszler should be doing. This is what got her so hated by in a good way. Hated in a good way by the NXT universe. This was the way you book her. No remorse by Shayna Baszler. She walks away as Indy Hartwell is checked on by the medical staff. If Shayna Baszler would have won the Royal Rumble, she could have been doing this to Becky Lynch from the night after the Royal Rumble all the way to WrestleMania, and everybody else who got in her way. Again, I'll say it again until I'm blue in the face. Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble did more damage for the build to WrestleMania than anything else that happened. Even this pandemic going on. Shayna Baszler not winning that Royal Rumble hurt the build to WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship more than anything. Next up, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. I figured that this was going to be how everyone's saying that Andrade and them were buried tonight. I figured that not Andrade, but Cedric Alexander and Ricochet were buried last week, taking on the Viking Raiders, and we'll get to them in a minute because holy shit, who thought that was a good idea? This match went so fast, and these guys worked so fast and so quick, I couldn't even write down notes for this. All I know is Ricochet versus Vink was the beginning of the match. Ricochet takes a little bit of heat. He cools that off. Tags in Cedric Alexander. Couple double team moves. And Vink drops Ricochet on the outside, stopping him. He tags back in, goes for an Razor's Edge into the corner. But Ricochet was able to get that into a Hurricane Rana, sending Vink into the corner. Alexander gets the hot tag, taking both opponents down. Standing shooter star pressed by Ricochet gets a 2. I can't even keep up with this match. It's how fast and good these guys are. Recoil, lumbar check, 1, 2, 3. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander win. And that was that. So these two look fantastic together for what I could write down. I didn't want to sit there and pause every 2 seconds trying to write down notes. It was just, no thank you. That is just too much for me. But for what they did do, good stuff. This tag team, if they are given the time of day and can actually do something, could be a good tag team. Apparently, they've been friends for over a decade or so. They've been wanting to be a tag team together for a long time, so that's always good. Being friends, if you're in a tag team on TV, in wrestling on TV, and you're best friends or really good friends with your tag team partner, it actually sometimes, not every time, but sometimes is a benefit over being somebody that you despise, even though we've had tag teams in the past that have actually worked really well together when they can't stand each other off screen. Then we go from this to a waste of space, waste of time. Bobby Lashley is in a gym. He's like, I'm Bobby. He's like, come here. And Lana walks in and is like, and I'm Lana. And he's talking about wanting to flip a tire. I know we're going through a pandemic. I know WWE is short-staffed because not everybody is probably working, or they furloughed half of the producers or most of the producers. But this is the best you could come up with. Last week you had Bobby Lashley telling Lana to shut the hell up, yelling at her to just keep her mouth shut when she continued to talk. And now you have them being a happy couple and Bobby Lashley flipping truck tires. What the hell is this? Says when I get warmed up, I'm going to flip this tire later. Laziness. Kairi Sane versus Nia Jax again. Obviously, this is punishment to Kairi Sane. Now, Nia Jax botched at least 2 or 3 times in this match. You know how Cesaro does a swing, and he does it, and when he lets somebody go, he lets them go when his swing is almost done, not when he's revving it up. That's to protect them from getting injured. Does Nia Jax do that? No. She's in the middle of a swing and she throws them when the momentum's still going, which could lead to somebody getting injured. Asuka's in the back yelling in Japanese. Then, of course, Nia Jax takes Kairi by the hair and throws her carelessly. Is she really trying to hurt Kairi? Then comes the most careless, selfish act of this match. Kairi Sane's on the apron. She tries to slide through under Nia Jax, goes to pull her down into a sunset flip, which anybody at normal size, she could have done that too, but not Nia Jax. Which Nia Jax turns around and just looking down and is like, what the fuck? Which I kind of for a second. Then she picks her up by her head, carries her, and does something you should never fucking do. Lazily takes Kairi Sane, 90 fucking pound Kairi Sane, and just throws her to where her head hits the back. The back of her head hits the second turnbuckle. Now, if I'm doing business and I'm in WWE and I'm looking at this, Nia Jax is fined, suspended, and warned if you ever do that again to somebody, you are going to be fired. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't give a shit if you're related to The Rock or not. When you're in professional wrestling, you have 2 jobs: protect yourself and protect your partner, your opponent. That is it. Go out there, have a rehearsed fight, which is not fake, because what Kairi's saying, to anyone who wants to say wrestling is fake, go watch what Nia Jax did to Kairi Sane last night and tell me that was fake. She could have literally and seriously injured Kairi Sane, given her another concussion. But yet, nothing's going to happen to Nia Jax. You don't go out there and do that. That is careless, that is disrespectful, that is unprofessional. You do not put somebody through that. Kyrie goes for the leg of Jax as it starts to get tweaked a little bit. Jax goes for a slam, but the knee does give out, so Kairi Sane starts swinging away on Jax, who is down. Sliding D, as they call it, I don't remember, the sliding elbow. By saying insane elbow missed, and Kairi Sane goes for the insane elbow, misses it. Jax catches her, hits a Samoan drop, wins the match. I have never seen somebody in the last 10 years be as unprofessional and careless as Nia Jax. She has been gone for over a year almost. Yes, double knee surgery. But during rehab, during her time away, she could have used that time to learn how to sell, to learn how to protect her opponent, and to protect herself from injuries happening. Yes, wrestling happens, injuries are going to happen, just like in football, just like in basketball, baseball, any contact sport, injuries are going to happen. But as a professional wrestler, as a professional, the key to the word, professional, your job is to go out there, protect yourself, and protect your opponent. Nia Jax did everything but protect Kairi Sane in this match. If it comes out that Kairi Sane had another concussion, then that is going to be what's going to happen with Nia Jax if she's around. The injuries are going to start piling up in the women's division because Nia Jax is careless, selfish, and unprofessional. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And WWE needs to distance themselves from people like that. I don't give a shit if she's related to The Rock. I don't care if she's related to anybody in a wrestling family. She has no talent. She can't talk. She can't work. She can't protect people. People are going to get injured. And WWE does not need people getting injured right now. She was gone for almost a year. You know how many people got injured in that time? Very fucking few. It's time to cut the bullshit. Nia Jax needs to be gone. ASAP. They had Black Wednesday last week. She should have been one of the ones axed. Because she's becoming a major liability to this company. Moving on. Oh, before we do that, the reason that Kairi Sane took on Nia Jax the last 2 weeks is just further proof, in my opinion, that she's probably leaving. I have no idea when her contract's up. They probably added time to her contract because of her injury. Who knows? Her injury that she had last year, which was only about a month, but they still can do that. WWE wants her to go out on her back, which is the time-honored tradition you should be doing. If you're leaving a company, you should be going out on your back. You lose on your way out. Other people have done it multiple times. That's what you do. That's why the whole Montreal Screwjob thing happened in 1997, because Bret Hart did not want to leave on his back because he did not want to lose to Shawn Michaels. I disagree with that, but it is what it is. So her going up against Nia Jax 2 weeks in a row has to confirm even more that Kairi Sane in WWE is almost over. I think the days of Kairi Sane are almost over, and Kairi Hojo will be back in no time. Is that true? I don't know, but it's been a huge rumor for a while, and I know it's just a rumor, but a rumor that seems to have a little bit of smoke to it. And if that is the case, her losing to Nia Jax makes sense in the grand scheme of things because she's losing and putting somebody that they want to invest in over. However, I would not be investing my time in Nia Jax. It would not surprise me in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match which Nia Jax is in, that we don't care that at least most, if not all, the talent in that match outside of Nia Jax are hurt more than they should have been because they have to work with Nia Jax. Now we're going to move on. We hear from Seth Rollins, who's sitting on a double-wide throne. Says, "You're a brave man, Drew McIntyre. Fighting champion. I respect that not many men know what it's like to walk in your shoes, but I do. Not many men know what it's like to go to the main event of WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar." He says, "But I do." But Seth, because they show highlights of these guys' career that match up, and they show Seth Rollins holding the Universal Championship last year. Seth Rollins, that wasn't the main event. That was you versus Brock Lesnar opening the show in the first match because Brock Lesnar knew he wasn't main eventing, so he wanted to get the hell out of there ASAP. So telling me that you know what it's like, yes, he was in the main event of WrestleMania 31, but he didn't beat Brock Lesnar, he beat Roman Reigns. If you would have said, I know what it's like to go to WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar, that's a different story because yes, they both done that. But to say that you went to the main event of WrestleMania last year and beat Brock Lesnar kind of throws shades at your fiance who actually went to the main event of WrestleMania last year and won the women's championship in the actual main event. You were the opening of the show. You and I have a lot in common, he says. We command the respect of our peers and have a deep, passionate, loving passion for this industry. I accept your challenge at Money in the Bank, not out of respect or out of disdain. I have nothing wrong with you. There's no bad blood between us. I accept out of necessity. Now more than ever, WWE needs a leader as much as we have in common. Similarities stop there. I am a proven leader. You are not. I am the one who will sacrifice for the greater good. I am the one who will be the light in the darkness. At Money in the Bank, I'm going to beat you not because I want to, and in cliche fashion, because I have to. So, okay, there was a pretty good promo. As I said before, WrestleMania, and when this whole pandemic stuff started, shutting, in my opinion, illegally shutting down half of the economy, WWE promos have gotten way better. I don't know if Vince McMahon has taken reins off of the promos and letting people cut better promos, but this again was not a bad promo. Outside of a couple here and there, which when you have good promos, every once in a while you're gonna have a bad promo. But this was good. And it's just one of those things. These guys were able to go out there and they come off more believable. Now we know when all this stuff goes back to the way it was as best as it can, and we have them touring again, and you have all those producers come back, and Vince McMahon's only one heading this. They're in the Performance Center right now. I don't even think Vince McMahon's really backstage at Gorilla for these shows. I'm pretty sure he's at home in Connecticut on the phone running these shows. But this was a good promo. The throne, a little much. I don't know why you need a double wide throne like that. Someone actually asked Seth Rollins, is he sitting in 2 chairs? Clearly, it was a couch throne. But he said, it's the throne befitting the next WWE champion. We can only hope not. Seth Rollins is not believable as a WWE champion contender right now. What has he done to warrant a title match? He lost to Owens twice. He beats a jobber who I have no idea, Denzel DeJounte, I think, the night after WrestleMania, and hasn't really done anything. But what you're telling me is Seth Rollins losing to Kevin Owens not once but twice means I could be WWE champion because I am Seth Rollins. Now, of course, they don't have anybody else unless you really want to have Angel Garza or Andrade take on Drew McIntyre. They literally have nobody else. Then we go back, and Tom Phillips mentions that earlier yesterday, the Viking Raiders did their own version of carpool karaoke. Who thought this was a good idea? If anybody got buried on this show, it was the Viking Raiders. Now, there was a thing that came out, a news story that came out last week, that Dashton Dawson, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler, last week, it was told that when they were, the final pitch from Vince McMahon was them to be clowns, comedy group. So, I guess that they turned that down and left the company. Hanson and Rowe, with the paint on and their helmets on, just wearing normal clothes, are going to start singing Viking Raiders in a carpool karaoke. If anybody had a bad night, if anybody got buried, it's the Viking Raiders. Who thought this was good? This was terrible. These guys are supposed to be big, badass, motherfucking Vikings who just destroy everybody in their way. and you having them do a Viking Raiders theme song in carpool karaoke. What the fuck? This has Vince McMahon written all over it. All over it. I never want to see that again. Now, I gotta move on. I can't even. MVP versus Apollo Crews, our second Money in the Bank ladder match qualifier. He grabs the mic and says, "In my storied career, I have seen a lot of WWE stars rise and fall from that briefcase, which grants you a WWE title match anytime, any place. Now, earlier tonight, we saw Aleister Black get punch his ticket. He's in. Later tonight, Rey Mysterio, what a absolute legend, much like myself, gets his shot. But we're not worried about that right now. It's my turn. And in my way, it is the extremely talented Apollo Crews, one of the best in the company. But he's outmatched. But when they wanted, he's outmatched because when they wanted to make this unique, this match unique, which of course, as we know, is going to be from there's 7 floors of WWE's Titan Towers, and those 7 floors, they're going to go from floor 1 to the roof to get this match. They called the guy who is no stranger to being in a corporate lifestyle, no stranger to the money and all this other stuff. They picked me. They chose me. And I told my agent that book the flight to Stamford, Connecticut, because I'm going to be in Money in the Bank, because Money Talks and MVP is the future. I thought he was going to say Mr. Money in the Bank, but then Apollo's Crews music hit. Good match here. Couldn't really, gotta admit, I really wasn't paying attention to this match because MVP and Apollo Crews for years, has been mistreated, mishandled since his early unnecessary call up from NXT. So I could not even get into this match. It was, I guess, good, but you had Crews hit, I don't know what they called it. He's had him up for this lifting power bomb, like twisted him and hit him with a power bomb. 1, 2, 3, and Apollo Crews won. I can't really say much about it because it's just one of those matches. It's like MVP, who hasn't been in WWE for a very long time, comes back at the Royal Rumble, becomes a producer, which he didn't get furloughed. He's still here, and is now supposed to be this guy I'm supposed to take seriously. Now, if they wanted to have MVP start his own stable with guys like Cedric Alexander, Apollo Crews, and Ricochet, that'd be fine, but we already have a stable on Monday Night Raw, and Vince McMahon, as we know, does not really care for stables, so one at a time. Ruby Riot's backstage, being asked about the Riot Squad, what happened between her, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Again, Sarah Logan being mentioned. I know they own the rights to the name Sarah Logan, but we all wonder, why is Sarah Logan being mentioned so much on this show? She was mentioned and talked about more on this show than she's had matches in 2020 and 2019, mind you. Brad said, you know what, to me, there was no real Riot Squad. You know, I had double shoulder surgery last year because I've been carrying those 2 women on my back since we debuted. Logan's got a broken arm, and Liv will be lucky if I don't break both of her arms tonight. She suffers from this delusion that she's all grown up and independent, but Riot looks to turn that down tonight. Liv Morgan versus Ruby Riott was a nothing match. I said there was good wrestling, but this was not it. So basically, a couple hits in, and then Ruby Riott says, "You're nothing." She's like, Liv Morgan's trying to crawl up, and she's like, "Get your hands off of me." Riot goes to bounce off the ropes. Liv follows her, hits the middle rope, flatliner, 1, 2, 3. Nothing match on his show that had some good wrestling, but this was not it. Then we go back to Bobby Lashley. He says, I'm now warmed up, and Lana comes in and says, "You're not warmed up, you're on fire." Flips the tire and says, "You know what? Anybody could flip that one. But what about this one? It's a taller tire, but a lot smaller, so it's going to be a lot like, I don't know. Why?" Then what was probably the best match of the night, Buffy versus Rey Mysterio. And these two started off hot. And then Rey Mysterio gets his finger injured. I couldn't tell exactly where it was at, but he does come. He gets out of the ring and he's like, my finger. He's like saying my fingers. He's trying to put his dislocated finger back in. Murphy sees this and he attacks Rey Mysterio as if he smells shark smelling blood in the water. He's just beating the piss out. He takes him down, stomps on the finger, is just beating the living hell out of this guy. Rey Mysterio does get a drop kick onto him, sending him into the barricade. He goes back into the ring, hits a Hurricane Rana, sending him back into the barricade. Tornado DDT. I'm sorry, my bad. Where did I go down? Yeah. Then he hits a Hurricane Rana on. I'm sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit. Hits a Hurricane Rana to Murphy on the diamond plate on the outside. Rolls him back inside. Tornado DDT for a 2 count. On the apron, they're fighting. Murphy goes for something. Ray gets out and drop kicks him, falling into the barricade. This is where it was at. Then he runs the ropes and hits another Hurricane Rana into the barricade there. Crossbody off the top rope. Caught. Fireman's carry, GTS, knee strike, brain buster for a 2 count. Murphy goes to the top, but Mysterio stops that, goes for a top rope suplex. Murphy stops that, gets down, looks like he's going to go for the Nendo's kick, which is the kick when they're, like, bent over in the corner and he goes to kick him in the head, but Rey Mysterio kicks him in the back of the head, kicks him in the head, turns it into a sunset bomb. Murphy tried to do the sunset bomb, sunset power bomb from the ropes. Then the kick happens. Rey Mysterio hits the Canadian Destroyer out of the ring, out of the ropes. Hits the 619, 1, 2, 3 after dropping the frog splash for the win. Rey Mysterio is your winner. Now, I only got about half the notes for that match. It was one hell of a match between these two. Like I said, a lot of matches that happen in these shows, they are some good matches. They would be better with a live crowd that was hot and just cheering for one guy or for both guys, cheering and booing the other guy. But unfortunately, with the times we're in and everything that's going on and the fear-mongering that's going on, that can't happen until the government that works for us, mind you, tells us what we can and cannot do, which makes no fucking sense, but I'm not getting into that. Drew and Rollins was made official for Money in the Bank, so my question is, with Money in the Bank, is the entire show taking place at the corporate building, or is it just the 2 ladder matches? I would go for all the matches just happening there, have it all on the roof. Who cares? It would be something different. It would definitely be something different. But they haven't, WWE has not confirmed that the entire show's happening there. It's just they confirmed that the ladder matches are happening there. And as we saw with the Boneyard match, obviously that didn't happen in the Performance Center. It happened somewhere else. But as far as we know, we have 2 title matches for the Universal and WWE Championship, but they haven't said where those are happening. They didn't say the PC. They haven't said Titan Towers. So other than the 2 ladder matches where we know where they're going to be, and Russell Rose came out last week before Friday, and said that Money in the Bank is not going to be taking place at the PC. But they did not say that it's all going to happen at Titan Towers. So that's a question that I still want to know. Is it all going to happen at Titan Towers, or are we just going to have a lot of matches there? Somebody give me a goddamn answer. Charlie backstage with Vega and Garza. Vega seems annoyed about Charlie's question. She's like, you don't know if this plan's coming together. You don't know if Angel Garza is going to teach the lesson that Drew McIntyre rightly deserves to have. She walks away, and then Angel Garza comes up to Charlie with this flirtiness to him. He's flirting with her. After my match, he's like, you can ask me, how does it feel to beat Drew McIntyre? And she just has this look of, like, she's smitten with the guy. She's like, I can do that. Like, in the sexiest voice that she can. I honestly wonder, how does Angel Garza's fiance, who he got engaged to in December, feels about all this? Charlotte Flair. Is she not the NXT Women's Champion? Like, she's the NXT Women's Champion. Why is she on Monday Night Raw? Why is Kaden Carter on Monday Night Raw? Why is Charlotte Flair taking Kaden Carter on Monday Night Raw? Then you have people saying that AEW lost the last 2 weeks in the ratings battle to NXT because Charlotte Flair is NXT Women's Champion. How is that? How is it that the fact that you made up, I don't know, had Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa 2 weeks ago in a match that everyone wanted to see finish last year in front of a hot crowd in New York. But we had to settle for this. It was supposed to be at Tampa. Tampa didn't happen because of X, Y, and Z. But the fact that that was a very anticipated match for a lot of people. And yes, ratings for both shows are down because people who in my demographic, because I'm in the 18 to 49 demographic, are too stupid to sit there and watch the news and listen to the fear-mongering news while this stuff's going on instead of using their heads and watching literally anything else. But yes, and people are wondering, why is NXT and AEW still under 1 million? Why are they so low down? Because I'm going to say this again. Wednesdays is a death day for wrestling. Wednesdays is one of the worst days for professional wrestling. I don't know why. I could never figure this out, but it's like middle of the week. And when Impact Wrestling, and this is my best way to say this, is when Impact Wrestling was forced by Spike TV to move to Wednesday nights towards the end of their run, that was the worst time. That's when their ratings dropped below 1 million completely. For some reason, wrestling on Wednesdays has never drawn. I'm just saying. Charlotte Flair versus Kaden Carter. This should be on NXT. This shouldn't be here. I don't know why. Apparently, Charlotte Flair is going to be on NXT this Wednesday. She's going to quote-unquote swing by. And she apparently wants to face Mia Yim on her first match in NXT. Which, you're the NXT Women's Champion. Why are you having a match on Raw? Kaden Carter gets some offense in, but ends up tapping out to the figure 8. Why is she on Raw again? She's the NXT Women's Champion. Last I checked, this isn't NXT. This is Monday Night Raw. Go back to your brand. Again, why is Bobby Lashley flipping tires? You had us tease that you were going to break these two up last week and at WrestleMania. And now everything's smooth sailing for these two. He's flipping truck tires like they have nothing better for these two to do. Akira Tozawa versus Andrade. This was just a match that should have went the way it did. Andrade wins with the hammerlock DDT off the top rope after Zelina Vega distracts Akira Tozawa. Nothing else really to say about this match. It was a match to get Andrade on the show. Get Andrade a pretty simple win. And give these guys some momentum. Then come the Street Profits. Look. I know that Bianca Belair is married to Montez Ford. We know that. They profess that on TV all the time. I never, ever want to hear the Street Profits on commentary during Bianca Belair's matches again. They took away from the match. It was against Santana Garrett. It wasn't going to be a match with, it was going to be a 5-star, 4-star barn burner classic. But they took away from Bianca Belair dominating Santana Garrett. People, if you were watching this, if you're somebody watching this, you're going to pay attention more to what the Street Profits are doing than what's going on in the ring. You're going to get annoyed with the Street Profits more than what's going on in the ring. That was just very bad. Bianca Belair should have been out there. If you want to have them down around the ring acting like a fool and stuff where you can't hear them as well because there's no mic to them, fine. But having them go out there and do everything they could to be a distraction for the match just was a little too much. Belair dominated. This is a typical Bianca Belair match. She goes out there, she dominates majority of the match. Yes, her opponent does get some in, and it shocks Bianca Belair every single time. Garrett rocked Belair with her head in the head. Goes up for a crossbody, gets a 1 count. Kicked by Garrett, goes for the handstand backflip off the ropes. Bianca Belair kicks her in the stomach, gets her up, picks her up, drops her on the top rope, and then hits the KOD for the 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, oh God, it's over. Thank you, because the Street Profits took the headphones off. Yes, they got excited, they celebrated, they went down and celebrated with her, but never, ever again do I want to hear the Street Profits on commentary. Then we have our main event, Angel Garza versus Drew McIntyre. Of course, the entire group's out here. Austin Theory tries to distract Drew McIntyre. Garza on the attack right away. Both men trading blows. Chop after chop by Drew as he goes to town on Garza on the outside. Chopping away on the outside. Now he throws Garza back in. Garza has the distraction of the referee. And Andrade tries to push him into the ring post. Drew stops that. Doesn't let it happen. He goes to take out or goes after Andrade. But Garza suicide dives to the outside. He goes and gets tossed over the steps. He walks over the steps. He climbs and walks back with a Glasgow kiss to him. Theory from behind, Drew drops him. This allows Garza to drop kick Drew and then send him into the ring post. Drew is rocked. He gets thrown into another ring post. Garza throws him back in the ring, gets a 1 count, I'm sorry. Garza now starts working on the leg while he's down. Drew then gets up, drops Garza with a kick to the face. Drew goes up top, jumps and hits this was a botch. I don't think Garza wasn't close enough as Drew McIntyre goes down and tries to slap him and like do a chop off the top rope. Sets up for the Claymore. Garza tries to escape, but Drew is about to do the countdown. He goes, and then he sees he's trying to escape, goes after him, grabs him. His pants fell off. He fell out of his pants. So Drew McIntyre hits a tope con hilo to the outside, hitting all 3 men, taking them all out. Yells, "How do you like that? I could do it. I could do it all." To Vega. Tosses Andrade out of the over the barricade. Claymore's Austin Theory. Back in the ring, Alabama Slam to Garza, rolls him up, gets a Claymore, rolls him up, Garza gets him up, hits the Claymore, 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre is your winner. In my opinion, outside of that opening segment, which was bad. If you're a faction, if you're a group of 3 or more, and you send one guy in to attack this guy that you are zeroing in on to take out. When he clips that person and has them in the middle, in the ropes, you go in there and you do a 3-on-1, leaving this guy laying, making the match between Angel Garza and Drew McIntyre quote-unquote more fair, because let's face it, 1-on-1, Drew McIntyre is going to probably beat the piss out of Angel Garza any day of the week. So that was a misfire there. But honestly, the group did not look too bad. Honestly, Drew McIntyre, yes, it was only a 5-minute match, but they did a lot in that 5-minute match. Drew McIntyre had a 3-on-1. Vega didn't get involved, thank you, because that would have been, I think, a little much. But Drew McIntyre in 5 minutes had to take on 3 guys and had to survive to be able to beat Angel Garza. Then after the match, of course, he goes up, he talks to Myron Saxton and says, "You saying good things about me? Want me to give him one more kick? Let's give him one more kick." Goes back in, hits a Claymore on him again. And then Austin Theory comes in, he hits a Claymore, and the show goes off the air with this guy, with Drew McIntyre standing tall. Now again, can someone tell me, how did they get buried? That didn't look like a burial to me. Now, this week, they didn't get buried. But if they continue to do stuff like this, then they're getting buried. But here's my thing. This is a 50-50 flip right here. If they come out next week and all 3 guys do what they should have did in the first segment this week, and just beat the brakes off of Drew McIntyre, leaving him in a heap of his own sweat and whatever else, then did they get buried? No. People are just jumping to conclusions. And yes, I trap on WWE because it's warranted. Yes, I want to be a little optimistic here because I want to be able to see what happens with this group, and I'm hoping that WWE does the right thing and makes this group look great next week. Did they come out? This is the thing that pisses me off so much. In WWE, you are not allowed to lose. If you lose, you're buried. If you lose, you're a loser, and you are buried. You are not allowed to. You are not allowed to even be called a star. You are a buried loser. When AEW, if somebody loses in one shape or form, oh, it's okay. They'll get a win back another time because they have win-loss records that matter. You're fucking stupid. Drew McIntyre did not bury this group. they had a bad day at the office. Now, if this continues to snowball, then you can say they're buried, but it was a 1 week thing. I'm hoping, and I know it's lost hope, and it's usually probably how this goes. WWE, all they have to do is the right thing. Do not have these guys go out there and look like fools next week. They didn't look like fools last night. It was one of those things that they were a little cocky, and Drew McIntyre came out ahead. Now, another thing, they're in a feud of sorts with the WWE champion. Andrade looked great last week, and the 5 minutes he got on Angel Garza looked good. If they have Austin Theory, that one might be a little bit of a stretch because I still don't think Austin Theory is ready to be on Raw. But being in a group with Angel Garza, and who was ready by far and away, and Andrade and Zelina Vega, I think it's going to help get him ready for when they want to break this thing up, which I hope will be in like a year or so, after they've dominated hopefully for a while. That's a different thing. So, people saying that right now, they are not buried. This was just because Austin Theory lost in a heck of a match against Aleister Black, and Angel Garza lost, and just because they lost and they didn't look, they looked like, and Drew McIntyre looked strong against them. It's not like Akira Tozawa outsmarted all three of them and beat all three of them, and all three of them were left laying. He's the WWE champion. He's supposed to look strong. These are people who are complaining that when a champion gets beat, everyone complains when WWE beats a champion in a non-title match. But when a champion wins a non-title match, everyone still complains. Nobody can win. Drew McIntyre needed to win. He should have won. Yes, I would have loved to see the match go a little bit longer. If you would have cut out the 2 Bobby Lashley segments in the Nia Jax match, you could have given this match another 5 minutes. And you would have had a 10-minute match, which would have been fantastic. But they didn't. WWE screwed up on their time restraints. They could have given these guys a lot more. Maybe this leads to a title match after Money in the Bank. You don't fucking know. But the people who say after 1 week, after this week, that they are buried. Now, yes, if they're doing the same thing next week and they get left laying again, then yes, they're starting to get buried. But it was 1 week. Austin Theory looked great. Andrade looked good. And Angel Garza looked good. You don't always have to win to build yourself up. This is why Road Dogg a couple years ago said wins and losses do not matter. They do, but they don't in WWE. They don't because you don't always have to win to look good. If you look good in a loss, like when Humberto Carrillo faced Seth Rollins in his first official match on Raw, in that fantastic match, which he ended up losing. If they would have had him come out week after week after that, winning matches, then they would have had this guy elevated. Why he failed is because they continued to have him lose. Same thing with Ricochet, same thing with Cedric Alexander. As these guys can go and actually start winning, like last week, they looked dominant. They looked fantastic. If you go out there and let these guys win, they don't always have to win. This isn't one of those things where you always have to win. Wrestling, you don't always have to win. If that was the case, the Young Bucks have lost more than they have won. They should be called, quote-unquote, buried because they're putting other talent over. You need to have Drew McIntyre look good. He's going into a title match in 3 weeks or 2 weeks from this past Sunday. Do you want Drew McIntyre to lose to Angel Garza? Do you want Drew McIntyre to lose to Andrade? Do you want him to lose to Austin Theory? No. They lose looking good. That's all there is to it. Anybody saying that this group is buried, hold off on that. If next week, like I said, these guys go out there and at the end of the show you see them putting their fist in the air doing the Ingobernables pose, they're not buried. It was just a rough day at the office. If they're laying on their back next week, then you can say that. But until then, give it a week at a time. We'll see what happens. That is your Monday Night Raw review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. And I will see you guys on Thursday for AEW as we see if Dustin Rhodes will retire, if Sammy will beat Darby Allin, and who will make it to the semifinals of the TNT tournament as we are getting one step closer to our first ever TNT champion. I really want to see what that title belt looks like. But until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.